Hey, agaho everyone! Today we're going to be playing some games with one of Jasmine's favorite decks, I'm sure, the Durant klinklang deck. So if you don't know what the pieces are, we have the Plasma klinklang, which with the ability Plasma Steel prevents all damage done to any metal Pokemon on our side of the field from the opponent's Pokemon EX. So with EX Pokemon being, a large portion of the offense that in most decks, this is a very useful ability. And, ordinarily you see this paired with Cobalion EX or Registeel EX, Lucario from Plasma Storm with the ability that turns him into a dual fighting metal type. So guys like that for offensive builds, but this is another way you can go about it and say, I don't want to attack. I'd rather use my old buddy Durant and his Devour to, for every Durant in play, you discard the top cards of your opponent's deck, and of course, Devouring for 4 is a fun thing to do. But couple of quirks to this deck. I chose to include one copy of the Plasma Durant with Call for Backup. If you start with him, well, you don't get the Devour for 1, which is usually what I end up doing with this deck. Sometimes I get lucky and get the Devour for 2 or 3. But he does have the Call for Backup attack, which can help you set up your Klinklangs, or just call out other Durants to set up for the future. And his second attack isn't terrible either. It does the same amount of damage as Noble Victories Durant's Vice Grip. Metal energy requirement, of course, that's all we have. It also locks the opponent retreating. So this, you could pull some shenanigans like, Darkrai likes to run Keldeo if they drop one of those. I don't care if you have a Dark Energy attached to it, Keldeo, you're not going to be able to retreat. You're kind of going to be stuck there, and about all you can do is Secret Sword me for 50. So, you can pull some shenanigans with that, but mostly used for Call for Backup. And then the other little oddity, maybe, is the klinklang. Now, most people will favor just using, the 3-retreat Klang as well as the 3-retreat Klink from Dark Explorers. That way the entire line can be searched out with Heavy Ball. But I opted to go a little bit different way. I chose the Emerging Powers Klink for my 3 Klink, and as it only has 1 retreat cost, and this makes it easy to retreat. Sometimes you start with this, and on the off chance you go up against a Empoleon or some other non-EX deck, you don't really need to get out klinklang, and this makes it easier to retreat, especially since we are running some Sky Arrow Bridge for stadiums. This klinklang line is kind of funky, but so far I've liked it alright. I have one Dark Explorers Klang that has the 3 retreat, and I have one Emerging Powers Klang that has a 1 retreat. So this is kind of nutty. You've got, within this family, I think you've got every retreat from 1, 2, and 3 available at your disposal. So if you want a hefty Klang, you got a hefty Klang. If you want a lightweight Klang, you got a lightweight Klang. Now the reason I can afford to do that, of course, is because I run 4 level ball for the Durant anyway. So I can still search out Klink's fine, I can still search out Klang's fine. But of course we need a heavy ball still for the klinklang. So I guess that's a good time to move into our trainer line. And yes, I'm aware that 3-2-2 is an extremely odd stage 2 line, but so far it's been pretty alright, and I like it. It's weird, and maybe I just like it because it's weird. So with all the energy acceleration decks going around now, Crushing Hammer's kind of lost some effectiveness if you can't hammer spam. So I just went down to 2. You have to time them a little bit more. You can't just, I drew a hammer, throw it down. That's certainly an easy thing to do, but ideally you want to try to save it for a critical juncture in the game. Try to peel off an energy when it might really mess them up. Then we have our Ace-Spec Dowsing Machine. I just love that Dowsing Machine can get back supporters. It can also get back stadiums. This deck plays a lot of stadiums to try to win the Stadium War against the Burbank City Gym. So you can get back those. Of course, you can get back a critical switch. One of the biggest weaknesses of this deck is that klinklang keeps getting captured. I try to mitigate that somewhat by having the lower forms have the lower retreat cost, but sometimes you just might need the Dowsing Machine and get back your switches. Then we have only 1 Enhanced Hammer. Just because there's not a ton of special energy going around, Double Colorless and Big Basic Beatdown is about the only one that I see. Mewtwo's not a big threat to this deck. Buffalan's not really a big threat to this deck, as it falls just short, although it can knock out with Hypnotoxic. And Tornado CX, once we get Plasma Klang in play is also not a big deal. So, you know, mostly I find that I end up just trying to Crushing Hammer Dark Energies off active Sableye. Is usually what all my hammer spam results in. Go ahead and talk about these two. Of course, we have 3 copies of Switch, and we actually have 2 Escape Rope. I've been trying out some Escape Rope, and so far it's been alright. You know, we get a little bit of disruption, but still a heavier count of Switch because we do, of course, have 4 Catcher because we are not crazy, and we run 4 Catcher in this deck. And of course, Escape Rope can undo a Catcher if you know, Klinklang stuck active, I need to switch him out, I'm going to Juniper for it, you know, I'm going to Catcher up someone favorable, and then I draw Escape Rope, and now they can bring back whoever they want. You know, so there's some issues with that. But we do have 2 Heavy Balls. Heavy Ball can search out Klinklang or one of our Klangs if we opt to get him instead, and then 4 Level Ball to get out any of the Durants and anything except for Klinklang. We have 1 Rare Candy. You know, this is a 3-2-2 line, so theoretically Rare Candy's not needed, but you know, you never know when it's going to be handy to Skyla for it and, you know, get out a second Klinklang. That's always a handy thing to have out as 2 Klinklangs because sometimes the deck can whittle down 1 with lasers, but since Durant kind of puts them on a clock, it's a little bit more difficult to knock out 2 Klinklangs with lasers, especially if I'm winning the Stadium War against Burbank to make Poison only do 10. We do, of course, have 4 Revive. That's sort of standard Durant staples. And I think that's actually it for the item cards. So there's 2 Crushing Hammer, Dowsing Machine, Enhanced Hammer, 2 Escape Rope, 3 Switch, 2 Heavies, 4 Levels, 4 Catcher, 4 Revive, and a Super Rod to sort of act as a way to get some energy back, way to get some Durants back, and 4 Revive. Alright, so supporter line. We got 3 Shirin. As usual, I do 1 of each art. 4 N, because this deck is, of course, not going to be taking prizes, so it's always going to be a draw 6 for me. And, you know, N and Durant is always a little bit iffy because if they shovel a big hand in and then draw only 2 or 3 or 1, you know, you just add it to their deck size, so that can sometimes be something you need to keep a handle on. Only 2 Juniper. I just tend to be super Juniper averse. To be honest, I probably could run Colress, since this deck tends to want to fill up its bench with Durants and stuff. But for now, I'm sticking with Junipers. And then 4 Skyla, something that I don't think Durant didn't have back in its HS through Next Destiny's big run. Or I guess that was actually through Noble... Well, whatever. Anyway, back in its day, when it was considered a good deck, I guess, or the best it was ever considered. But of course, Skyla allows you to search out, you know, any of these things, or a Stadium card too. So, Stadium cards, we have 3 Stadium cards. Battle City is kind of a tricky one because if they start using Battle City and drawing cards, well, that's less cards left in their deck. You know, certainly not as good as it going to the discard pile, but it can still play a difference at some point, and it's just another Stadium to go in tandem with Sky Arrow Bridge, which reduces the retreat cost of Durants and Klinks. That's why I play the 1 repeat Klink to 0. So, you know, if you start with Klink and I want to get a Durant, you know, rather than Skyla for a Switch, you can just Skyla for Sky Arrow Bridge, and that works out just fine. Save a Switch later, therefore, for Klinklang. So that helps out. 8 Metal Energy. I kind of would like to run 9, to be honest, because I whip energy all the time. I might consider taking out a hammer or 2 if those since it's a coin flip card. But for now, I'm running 8 energy until I start losing way too often with this deck due to energy droughts. That is, I think I'm gonna keep with 8. I know I usually run 7 for like Sableye shenanigans decks, but 8's what we're gonna run for this. We got Super Rod to reclaim some. Sometimes I have wished that I had energy retrieval just so I could Skyla for energy. Matter of fact, that's so tempting to add. I think I'd rather add an energy search than an actual energy card. Plus, that way you could Dowsing Machine for energy. So, actually, you know what? Why don't we do that right now? We're going to take out Crushing Hammer, and I'm going to put in a energy search. Energy search. Is there even, I'm not even sure if there's an energy search in HS. I don't think there actually was, which is kind of humorous. That's an energy switch. That was a mistake. Energy search. Alright, there we go. Again, I'm not too sure about the hammer situation, but we're gonna save this. and we're going to actually name this version 1.2. And there is the DurantKlang deck. Since this was, I do actually have a really short game that I'm going to show you, and also in this video. So let's cut over to that. Alright, so here we go. We're playing against an Emboar deck, and it looks like to be an Emboar rayquaza deck, actually, given that it's got some lightning energy, and I think I see a rayquaza in the discard pile later. So we got some fire versus metal. Who's gonna win? Start out with a Durant active, it's good, and 2 Klinks on the bench. So it's you know, it's nice that they're not a liability to be captured like the 3 retreat Klinks would be. So actually I have 2 level ball in the opening hand. He mulliganed a couple times, so it looks like I'm going to be able to get out at least 3 Klinks, and then we'll have to see what I can do from there. I have no Durant's prize. 3 Durants, sorry. Looks like I have no Durant's prized. Checking through, doesn't look like we have anything that's going to be too crippling in the prizes, so that's always a good thing. There is no more Rotom in the format, so I kind of just have to deal with it. So we're going to go for an energy, and story of my life, I whip energy in this deck. But we do get another level ball, so I can go ahead and peel out a 4th Durant, since I noticed that was in there earlier. Right now, I don't know exactly what he's got. He could still, theoretically, just, you know, if he plays Reshiram, you know, identifies that, hey, he's got Plasma Clang, I'm just not going to play down any EXs, I don't really need them. You know, or he could just go, you know, straight Emboar, which I think is actually what he's going to end up doing. So he's going to Juniper. I see there's a Next Destiny's Reshiram that he discarded, and he's going to tackle for 20. Let's see what I got in my hand. I need to get an energy. I really need to get an energy. Right now, the only out I have to a supporter is Dowsing Machine. So, think about, I gotta play that. I have to. I've got 4 Durant and I'm not Devouring. I have to have an energy. So, what do I want to discard? I'll discard a Revive, I think, simply because I have 2. In retrospect, I probably should discard the Plasma Clang, but I kind of want to keep the Skyward Bridge. I think I'm actually going to discard the Catcher. Right now, it's a useless card, since, you know, he has no bench, so I'll go ahead and put the Skyward Bridge out. That'll allow me to retreat Klinks or Durants, you know, kind of for free. And there we go. Got some energies. Got some Steelix energies. That's nice. Got a switch in hand. Got another supporter for next turn. Got a heavy ball. If I want to, I can get out a Klang, but I don't think I really want to right now. I'm just not threatened enough by the EX threat right now, so I'm just going to Devour for 4. That's what this deck loves to do the most, and see what he's going to do in response. He's going to take 6 prizes, and no Pokemon in my deck give up more than 1 prize, so that's going to be a difficult task to do before he gets milled out, if he doesn't start attacking soon anyway. He's got an Ultra Ball for an Emboar, and he's going to have a Rare Candy to slam it down this turn. If he doesn't, I have an N, and he does have it enough to slam it down this turn. And he's actually going to make a really smart play here by just going solo Emboar. Emboar does, of course, have a usable attack that knocks out Durant handily, especially even before weakness is applied. So just level balls for a Tepig. I mean, whatever. I guess it thins out a card, but you don't really want to be thinning out cards. I guess you might want to thin out cards if you're trying to draw into energy, so that might be what he was going for with that. Check his discard pile, and I think the game almost froze there, probably because he was trying to discard things with Ultra Ball. That's a kind of an awkward thing that happens in real life too. You'll be checking someone's discard pile, and they need to Junk Hunt or Dowsing Machine or something, so they need it. He puts an Eevee on an Emboar, not really sure why, but oh well, he did it. Got a Battle City, but it seems like he's starving for cards a little bit, so I don't really think I want to play it. So I'll just keep Devouring. I do have an energy. If someone gets captured, there's another energy. So now that I have a surplus of energy, I may as well attach one. I'll just throw it on there, just in case I get end and a Durant gets knocked out, something like that. And I whip energy as per the usual. But we keep Devouring for 4, and is he ever going to get a Heat Crash off? So far, it looks like a no. I got a Skyla in my hand now, so that's going to be good for a Revive. If I need to go that route. This, by the way, is before I put the Plasma Clang in, or the Plasma Durant in, sorry. So this is the version 1.0, if you're wondering why there's no Plasma Durant in the field. No, I do not play 5 Durant. Finally gets a Lightning Energy, so that's going to allow him to Heat Crash. Only costs 2 fire, 2 colorless. And kills Durant, but we've got Super Rod and Level Ball. Or I can just Skyla for Revive, which is what I'm going to opt to do. And if he knocks out another one, I do have Super Rod plus Level Ball to get that back out from the deck anew. So since I do have an N in hand to maybe access some energy, I'll go ahead and drop that other energy and see how many cards he's got left. He's got 4 cards left, so this should be easily in hand. It's just and I should be able to win this turn. I can just Super Rod that Durant back in, and then Level Ball it right back out, and he will have 0 cards left in this deck to draw from on his next turn. And I believe he's going to realize this shortly, or maybe he'll just actually let me do it. And Devour. And there we go, won the game. So that was a pretty quick and easy game. I think he probably played it about as well as he could have. Going mono Emboar, probably the best choice he had. It avoids me trying to catch or Emboars, him having to, fight for switches. Just load a bunch of energy on that Emboar. I mean, it can knock out Durant in 1 hit, so that's probably the best thing he could have done. Unfortunately, he just wasn't quick enough, didn't draw the energy when he needed it to start knocking out Durants. So, good game, and thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Later days.